This is a Williams E-60 from the late 70s, maybe the early 1980s, and it's the first locomotive that I've worked on that had stickers and decals like this. There are a few separate details that can be detached from the model before I work on it. The thing on the roof, those two black parts, are called pantographs, and in the real world these would be used to pick up electricity to run this engine from an overhead line system, I think mostly used in the northeastern United States. Overall, it doesn't seem like a bad project. The first thing to do is always the disassembly, and then you can see what needs to be fixed and how this actually went together back when it was new. So far, so good, but I do remember the seller saying that it didn't run quite well. So I'll take a look at these motors and the wiring inside. The cab itself, those pantographs are held on by 8 screws. The windshield is deeply set into the body, but I think it'll pop out. And it's the same on both sides. You can't tell from this camera angle, but my left finger is holding onto that little nut inside the shell as I try to get this screw out. Eventually, all of them come free, and after a few minutes, the entire shell is disassembled. These stickers have been on the body for over 40 years, and I don't know what kind of adhesive was used, but it was stubborn. It didn't respond to rubbing alcohol or nail polish remover, but the one thing that did work was Goo Gone. I was surprised. It has a nice, pleasant citrusy smell, and after a while, it took a while, but eventually all of this residue was removed, and I was just left with a painted silver shell. Now that the stripes are gone, the only thing left to remove are the decals that have the numbers and the word Amtrak. A little wet sanding gets rid of those pretty quickly. Now that the shell is smooth and clean, it's ready for a fresh coat of apple red from Rust-Oleum. When this paint dries, it'll be nice and glossy and very durable. Plus, it's also one of my favorite colors. These are the same decals that I've used when I made my Williams F7, my Williams FP45, and my MTH Superliner, all for AMROAD. These decals are from eBay, and they work really well. They're from a seller who I think designed them themselves, called Circus City. An E-60 is pretty easy, but even that decal softener will help this arrow conform to that little raised molding on the side. Eventually, the entire shell will get a nice glossy coat of clear. These separate handrails are a nice touch, but in the world of Silverstreak, they wouldn't be black. I'm pretty sure in the original movie, the locomotive had white handrails, so why shouldn't this E-60? There are quite a few parts to this pantograph. You've got the electrical pickup itself. Each one has 4 screws. and each screw has its own little plastic insulator. Those all have to be lined up before it can be attached to the roof of the shell. It took a while, but eventually it all comes together. It's kind of nice how symmetrical this model is. The glass is the same on both ends, and these horns are also the same on both ends. The shell is pretty much finished, and now it's time to figure out why the engine is not running smoothly around the track. I think I've solved the mystery. Inside this frame on one end, there is supposed to be a motor armature, like a spinning part that's wrapped with wires that spins between two magnets. It's just completely missing. It's here on this side. It's that part with the red wires that you see there. But the other end is missing that completely. I don't feel like trying to figure it out, and somebody already cut these wires. I don't want to put any more money into this thing. And it runs acceptably on one motor, it's just not very strong. So I'm going to just clean these wires up, leave them mostly in place in case I ever want to fix the second motor in the future. But until then, I will just put this shrink wrap tubing over the ends of the wires and give it a little squeeze so that there won't be any kind of arcing inside the shell when this is running around the track. It's not a heavy train to begin with, and even with two motors, I don't think it could pull very many passenger cars, but I can always fix it down the road. Until then, I used some larger shrink wrap tubing to group those three wires together, and I'm going to hold them in place to the frame with a little bit of hot glue. After reuniting the shell with the frame, it's time to put it on the track and see what it can do. It's in neutral right now, and then it takes off in one direction. So far so good. It's not going to be fast, but let's see if the reversing unit works. And it does. So, maybe this is just going to be another item on the display shelf, but technically it's fixed. And I think it could pull a few light passenger cars. As far as appearances go, I'm pretty happy with the way this turned out. I love the red with the white stripes on the nose. I don't think it's possible to have too many AMROAD passenger locomotives. This is, maybe the third or fourth? And I have one more possibly to convert, and then I would probably be done with the Silver Streak theme, unless I do some passenger cars, other than the Superliner that you've already seen. Maybe some old style passenger cars, I'm not sure. That could still be in the future. Until next time, this has been Bob's Workshop, and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and take care.